We come now to the very last one of the sentence combining exercises. I hope this has helped you, and I hope this will help you to get some ideas for complexifying your sentences in the future, for moving away from simple sentences that are simply speaking sentences written down on paper, because they are different languages. So we're going to finish out the sentence combining, or finish out the pre-writing set. This is number 5 because it continues from the previous 4. We're still sorting through all those file cards. You sort through the cards, you organize them into piles. The piles are based on related points. You sort through the cards and organize them into piles that are based on related points. By sorting through the cards, you organize them into piles. There's a semicolon again. Each pile is based on related points. Cards are sorted and organized based on related points. Uh, the section C, the passive voice option, is actually clearer and more direct. All the empty function words in section in sentence B, by sorting through the cards, you organize them into piles. Each pile is based on a related point. I'm thinking of this set of sentences as instructions to a student for getting something done. And the more simple and direct and concise those instructions are, the better it will work for the student to do the file card organizing. Number 6, write out A. The cards are then arranged to create an intelligent sequence of major points. To create an intelligent sequence of major points, the cards are then arranged. And finally, sentence C. An intelligent sequence of major points is created by arranging the cards. None of these is a bad sentence in the sense of being wrong or incorrect or ungrammatical or anything like that. Some are just not as good as others. And often when you're writing a draft, you put down an unclear sentence. You should be ready to do this. You should allow yourself the permission to write down a terrible sentence and then fix it. You'll often put down an awkward sentence and then clean it up. And it's a set of instructions, this particular set, and we're trying to get the reader to do something smoothly and easily. If I wasn't doing an exercise, I would probably do the bottom one on this page. This arranging allows you to create an intelligent sequence of major points. It's just a much more straightforward sentence. Number 7, you next look within card piles. This look is to arrange minor points. Very simple. You next look within card piles to arrange minor points. As a way of arranging minor points, you next look within card piles. By looking within card piles, you can arrange minor points. You're doing two things here, looking and arranging. Um, Maybe they're equal, but you can't arrange without looking. It's a time sequence. You look, then you arrange, not the other way around. And that's why I'm not at all thrilled with write out B. The arranging is done before the looking, which is just absurd and impossible. Here's another rule, a general rule. Reread things aloud and see which sentence is the most natural. See which paragraph is the most natural. When you read things aloud or get someone to read them aloud to you, you can hear things that you might miss when you're just eyeballing it. Number 8. 4 steps are completed. Add, drop, shift. When these 4 steps are completed, you can easily add, drop, or shift ideas. Very similar. With these 4 steps completed, you can easily add, drop, or shift ideas. After completing these 4 steps, you can easily add, drop, or shift ideas. Once again, many correct possibilities, and I might choose a different one than you chose. Um, and you probably wrote for section sentence C, after these 4 steps are completed. I only wanted to show you that there are several different ways to skin this particular cat. By the way, do remember that comma after the introductory subordinate clause, one of the most frequent errors. Number 9, sort of an advertising thing. Such flexibility is very practical. It makes the pre-writing process is straightforward, not a mysterious one. Such flexibility is very practical and makes pre-writing a straightforward process, not a mysterious one. That last little bit, something or other, comma, something else, that's another one of those minor comma rules that a phrase or a clause that is opposing what you just said gets a comma. Such flexibility is very practical, semicolon. It makes pre-writing a process that is straightforward, not a mysterious one. And finally, because it makes pre-writing a straightforward process rather than a mysterious one, such flexibility is very practical. This is really complex stuff. These are really complex sentences, and they're not at all good for speaking, but they're very clear and understandable as written sentences, often clearer than the original short, choppy ones. That last one would drive a conversational partner insane. The person would say, just get around to it. What are you saying? What are you saying? It's what we call a periodic sentence. The main idea is at the very back, but it works well in writing. Okay, I've got my ducks in a row here. We've gone through all of these things, and I wanted to give you the process as a set of instructions that you can use on the next paper. So here they come. Steps of the file card shuffle. Get some 3x5 cards or slips of paper. I do recommend against post-it notes because they get stuck together. They're also expensive. When you're brainstorming the topic, 1 point on each card, and you might end up with 20 of these things. Now you sort these cards into piles of related ideas. Get a big table. I actually do mine on an ironing board. And you've got these related piles now. Put them in a sequence that makes sense. By the way, at this point, you have a great advantage over me because I like to write lists, and I am a once I've written down a list, it is absolutely agony for me to persuade myself that item number 1 should be the third item to talk about. But when you're shuffling stacks of cards around, you don't have that cast in concrete feeling. The third stack can just go to the other end of the ironing board. Now that you've got these stacks in some kind of sequence, look within each pile and see what sequence of ideas makes sense. And feel free to move things around, take things out, put things aside, add new ones. Now that you've got that all put together, you do need a way to preserve this. You've got an outline. Each stack should start a main point. This is still a very, very rough draft outline, so you can make changes as needed. And it should become really obvious. 2 things should become obvious. Off-topic items, because you just had to throw it in, but they don't fit very well. And it didn't go into any good stack. You can also see when there's a hole, something you really needed to say more about and just didn't remember to say. And you should have some idea now about paragraphing as well. So these things will really help you. And as a matter of fact, when you're typing, you could put the stack of file cards next to the keyboard and just work from it. So I hope this has given you some ideas for what to do about the next paper and also some tools for writing sentences that are a whole lot more mature than simple Dick and Jane kind of sentences.